I would love today to kind of start by talking a little bit about the nursing and shift work side of things, and then kind of get into the outdoorsy stuff. I feel like with shift work, it's almost one of those things, kind of like it's hard to give advice about shift work if you're not actually in it. Just like it's like, it would be the coaching equivalent when people are like, hey, well, you should sleep 7 or 8 hours a night. And every parent that has kids is like, okay, but like, fuck off, because like, what is that, right? And so same thing, it's like with shift work, that can look a lot of different ways, but same thing, it's like, it's not feasible during most situations to be like, oh, I'm going to sit down and have a real meal or stuff like that. So I'm super like excited to kind of nerd out about that. And then obviously like the outdoor stuff is what you're known for, and we'll love to get into that too. So I'll kind of just open the mic saying, you are a travel nurse. What does that look like? How long have you been doing it? And then what does that kind of day-to-day look like for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I have been a nurse for coming up on 4 years now, and I have worked in every aspect of nursing. When I started, I worked part-time in an ER, and then which looked like, 2 to 3 shifts a week. It was a variable position, which is like the actual worst. Some shifts were day shifts, some shifts were night shift, some were kind of a split shift in the middle. And then after that, I transitioned into working in the OR. And so I worked like Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, very typical kind of normal person schedule. And then I transitioned from that into travel nursing, and in ER, I worked night shift for a whole year, which like stole my soul. And now I work per diem. So I essentially get to make my own schedule. I fill the gaps in the full-time schedule. So some months like March for us in a ski town is the busiest season because it's spring break every single week. So I'm working basically full-time hours in March. And then in other months, I work anywhere from 1 to 2 to 3 shifts a week. Mostly day shifts now, which is really nice. That's my number one piece of advice to any shift worker. Like, do whatever you can to work day shift. Because night shift is just like the actual worst on every part of your body, your relationship, your life, your social life. It's like the fucking worst. So that's number one. But yeah, so yeah, now I work, like I said, anywhere from 1 to 3 shifts a week. They're typically 10-hour shifts. So I will work either 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or I'll work from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., which that's my preference because that particularly allows me to get up and go to the gym and have a nice breakfast before I go into work, and then still like not get to bed at a super late hour. So I guess to kind of like tie off my number one, to kind of bounce off that, number one advice is work day shift. And number 2 is just really advocate for like what you need for your life. I've been always very vocal about like nursing is a rad career because there's so many different options within it, different places you can go. You'll have a job literally anywhere. The money is really good. But yeah, definitely like, I've been very vocal with my boss about like, hey, this is the shift that works best for me in my life. Please give me as many of these as you can, and I will work with you and give you a couple of the other ones as well. And so, yeah, that's kind of like the gist, I guess, of how my schedule works. It's kind of all over the place, but it works for my life for sure.
What got you interested into nursing? Like, was there a particular thing, or is that something like from a young age you were like, heck yeah, like this is what I want to do? Or like, how did you get into nursing?
Yeah. Yeah, not at all. It was very much an adult, second career kind of thing. I think a lot of people who go into nursing have some like super inspiring story about how when they were a kid, they were in the NICU or the PICU and, they remember the nurses. I don't have that story, fortunately. I was working in the outdoor industry, in my early 20s. And then I transitioned. I went back to school to study public health. And my best friend from high school was graduating. She was getting her master's degree in public health. And she graduated and got a job working for an insurance company, working in a cubicle. And I saw that and I was like, oh no, if this is the future of public health, like I am not about the cubicle life. So I kind of paused. I actually took a year off. I moved to Bend, Oregon, and I was a ski bum basically for a year. Worked odd jobs, did some consulting work here and there to kind of get by, and basically just thought about like, what do I want to do? What do I want my life to look like? And I started thinking about everyone in my life who I really admired for their like work-life balance. If you're watching this, you can see my quotes there. And I realized that they were all nurses. They were all like these badass women who had these really cool jobs, and then they'd get 4 days off and they'd go do some super fun adventure. Um, and so I just started kind of making a list of the pros and cons. And the pros for me were, decent pay. I can have a job anywhere. It's never going to be a job that's going to be outsourced. And blood and guts don't really bother me. So that was certainly a necessary perk there, I guess. But yeah, so like super practical reasons for sure. And happy to say that all of those reasons have like been true and kind of led me through my career thus far. So